Set your gears.
Private Service of MK.I working in conjunction with the Chief Coaching System by Sergeant Livrée Extra. He'll be talking to the pilots at the front of the aircraft, and they'll be discussing some final calculations for the run-in to allow for the parachutists to use the wind today to arrive at the right destination in front of you on the drop zone. As mentioned, activated, the ramp is open, their front facing are ready to go. Display team! Get together, and we have 9 good canopies. So immediately into the snake formation, with one parachutist lining up behind the other. So they can immediately get into carry out. They are following each other very, very closely in formation under the leadership of the coach. They break out now into a snake chase. Lieutenant Jet Livrée. All the time the team are under the guidance of the team coach. Right on the base, and all that now, right on the back of your leader. So as they come into land then, please give a huge round of applause for Sergeant Greg Cosford, Sergeant Greg Askelby. So ladies and gentlemen, Askelby.
for Gazelle Squadron.
The way we went to the very front.
Get ready to go up to be the fastest single engine helicopter. We will talk about helicopter speed records a little later on with another aircraft. So the capability is 200 miles an hour, which in helicopter is very fast. There is a very strong aerodynamic reasons that the helicopters have to certain speed. Combat movement. Anyone in the front of the Gazelle very vulnerable. Excellent view, absolutely excellent view. Sometimes a little bit too excellent when you're under enemy fire. Towards you. The break of the 2024 Gazelle Squadron.
Jack, look.
Got a sales unit there. The Typhoon display team is represented and many others. But now we go back to World War II and a Battle of Britain veteran example of the fighter that was our Air Fighter Command workhorse during the summer of 1940, and also an aeroplane that reflects the multinational nature of our Air Fighter Command's effort during those key events. This was an aircraft delivered to number 253 Squadron of Fighter Command, which made various moves that summer, ending up at one of the key sector stations, running in for Operative 1. A lovely display indeed by the Hurricane 1, that Battle of Britain veteran. An aircraft owned by Chinook RAF Shawbreed. They've been here this morning for a meet and greet at the Red Arrow stand. They're going back to RAF Shawbreed where their jets are awaiting them. They'll be have a light lunch, a pre-takeoff briefing, and they'll be back here in their Hawker Mark 1 jets for their Diamond season display in Diamond 9. It's going to be fantastic to see them at 3:30 this afternoon. And Ben and Andy were talking about the Hawks that did the fly past earlier, being based at RAF Valley. The Reds were actually at RAF Valley on Friday night because they based there to actually go across to the Isle of Man TT motorbike race meeting for a full display actually over the meeting. They did that on Friday evening, and that gives you a good idea of just how busy they are. This is a typically busy summer weekend for the RAF Red Arrows. They were also flying yesterday, flew back from Valley down to Bournemouth yesterday for another display at Chelsea near Portsmouth, back up to shore ahead of the team, ready for him to his Coventry, and that will be exactly what will happen this afternoon. So you'll see Gino come back with Red 10 a little bit later on. So a quick announcement, if Aero and their tent is just adjacent to public information tent in front of the tower. Very well mentioned, and let's just look ahead for the next hour, spanning 70 odd years of fleet, air arms, rotary aviation, the RAF dating from the 1950s, and the Wildcat very much the shipborne helicopter of today. Thinking back over the years, I think many of us will remember the Black Cat as a two-ship, very, very much loved display. Haven't been able to do that for a while. It's called the Wildcat. Shore, and that submarine was out of the war. One of the really interesting things about how the Wasp was employed in its day was that it had no sonar of its own, and it was largely seen solely as just a weapons-carrying platform that would be sent and directed by its parent small ship, perhaps by other vessels, or maybe by a Westland Wessex HAS-3 anti-submarine helicopter to attack an enemy submarine. They could operate to up to 100 miles from their mother ship. Very different concept now with the Leonardo Wildcat, the new element of this old and new formation. And that's a lovely thing.
I think we could be seeing the start of a brand new display item for future use.
Yes, indeed. We should say, of course, that we have the current Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Navy represented.
Speed bleeds off, the aircraft will come into the hover for the first of its, I think it's fair to say, its characteristic manoeuvre, the nose over.
There are two versions of the Wildcat in service with the UK Armed Forces. This is the Naval Wildcat HMA-2, and there's also the Wildcat AH-1, which serves with the Army Air Corps. And unlike its predecessor, the Lynx, both versions have a wheeled undercarriage. You'll remember that most Army Lynx, not all, the Mark 9 later had a wheeled undercarriage, most Army Lynx had a skid landing gear, and the naval ones had a wheeled undercarriage for shipborne operations. The decision was taken with the new Wildcat when it was developed to give them all wheeled landing gear. So important
when you're pushing this aircraft around with very small helicopter landing pads on the sterns of frigates and destroyers. Here you see a kind of spiral loop. Those of you that remember back to the Lynx with the Black Eagles will remember the amazing backflip. I really like that manoeuvre from the Black Cat. You will see it again a little bit later on towards the end of its display. It's a kind of loop with a twist in it as well. Very, very effective. As the aircraft comes back in front of you, you can clearly see the kind of growth on its nose right on the front of the aircraft. That's the NX West Hand Electro optical device. It carries a range of sensors, including a very, very high-powered camera.
Have mounted a .50 caliber machine gun, and on board it can carry Royal Marine sniper teams, for example, for the knocking out of a drug smuggling boat. Naval Air Squadron is the unit that provides the Black Cat's Wildcat display, and it's Lieutenant Scott Sunderland, an instructor pilot on that unit, who is at the controls.
So here we see the first part of a flat 270-degree manoeuvre, back onto the B-axis, and then the same mirror image, 270 again, around to reposition. And as you watch this display, just imagine this aircraft.
With a final roll, exits with the P-51 ground position for its slot in 1 slot of time. They will use tactical reconnaissance duties during D-Day at low level, in which the Mustang excelled. And those Mustang 1s of various RAF units, Allison powered, were an outstanding. And one of the main changes that they made as the design evolved was to replace that hugely stalky undercarriage, which, given that they were sometimes still operating some grass strips, could be a little fragile with much shorter landing gear.
And of course, the reason it had the long landing gear was that you had to have clearance the propeller
airfield for the Percival, later Hunting Percival Company. Development flying the Jet Provost T1, and then the Central Flying School of Little Rissington took it on for service trial training program and developing the training syllabus. After just a month, number 2 flying training school at RAF whole jet training concept that the RAF had was right.
I found a very interesting quote in a book I have on the Jet Provost that said was unheard of at the time. And then, of course, the idea of the side-by-side seating as well. Yeah, very, very new, a huge step forward at the time.
Because, of course, the other thing that can happen other than the aircraft biting you if you got it wrong was you could have clipped round the ear from the instructor who was sitting next to you rather than behind.
Nowhere to hide.
The Rolls-Royce Viper turbojet provides the power plant, one of the most successful.
I saw in some tech journal that it was licensed at just 10 hours initially because it was built for the G-HITT, the target that was meant to be shot down. So it didn't even have much life. And the engine is so quite a bit of reworking, but I think due to its basic sound design, it was found that with regular maintenance and
on the Mark V later. This one was built at the factory at Luton. It was delivered to the RAF in 1961, and it was with the RAF College at Cranwell until 66, when it went into storage. T3A model, and it served with number 1 until 1993, when the Schultz Tucano took over there completely. It was
level the aircraft upside down for the inverted pass. This is Bob's first year with the tutor display. He is operating at a base of 500 feet, except the 2 final passes at 300 feet. Bob was actually an instructor here at Cosford in 2002 when the tutor first came into service. The next 2 two manoeuvres are the wing over and the ballistic roll, which Bob can into qualified flying instructors. During his varied career, Bob has amassed over 8,000 hours on 15 different aircraft types. This is almost a full year in the air. After this next manoeuvre, the half Cuban, Bob will enter the slow roll. Get your cameras ready for some great angles. Throughout the slow roll, Bob will skillfully coordinate elevator, rudder and aileron inputs to keep the lift vector pointing upwards. This prevents him from descending towards the ground. The G-HITT has a top speed of 212 miles per hour and can achieve maximum positive 6 straight up, before completing a stall turn at almost zero airspeed. The two 90-degree turns allow Bob to continue in the same direction. The G-HITT is operated by No. 6 Flying Training School in partnership with Babcock International Group, primarily flying University Air Squadron students and RAF Air Cadets. There are 13 air experience flights across the UK that offer flights to up to 20,000 cadets each year. This could be you if you are between 12 and 17 years old. In this stall turn, it is flown conventionally, exiting in the opposite direction to the entry. Next we have the 4-point roll. Bob will delicately use the rudder to support the nose above the horizon while flying at a 90 degrees angle bank. You may have noticed the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund cards on the belly of the aircraft. Today the Royal Air Force is recruiting for multiple rewarding and demanding professions and has an exciting future ahead of it with the continued development of our combat and maritime patrol aircraft and UK Space Command. They will soon be joined by the introduction of our airborne early warning aircraft, the E-7 Wedgetail, and new remotely piloted capabilities with the Protector. The high tempo of operations continues to...
And as you can see on that takeoff, the aircraft not using half the runway almost, because of course, operating off the surface of the sea, a lot of friction initially, so very powerful aircraft, a very high power to weight ratio to enable it to unstick from fairly choppy seas.
Taking the fuel tankage there, having it in the wing brought a big benefit in terms of making this a low drag aircraft, and you can see now the wingtip floats that would come down for operation on the water, for operation I should say, on the water, and which we should see demonstrated in this display, are retractable, so they're now in the up positions. Very long range as well.
And with the convoys coming across from the United States, almost exclusively to the UK, in the build-up to D-Day, and in fact much earlier than that, 1941, 1942 onwards, they talked about the Atlantic Gap. It was the bit in the middle. Land-based aircraft in the US and land-based aircraft in the UK could only reach out so far. There was a big gap in the middle, and that is where the Catalina really came in, with other aircraft, such as the very long-range Liberator as well, to actually provide air cover against German submarines, primarily.
RAF service with squadrons based in Northern Ireland in 1945, so just one day before the E-Day. That U-boat U-320 was on its first operational patrol, and it ended up being abandoned on the E-Day itself. Rather bad luck for the crew, but they did all survive. And there are the wingtip plates down. we mentioned earlier, the site, he should have received it 75 years ago.
And in fact, talking to some of the crew this morning, they're going to visit him next week. How lovely.
Forces in Britain at the very end of World War II in the European theatre. The 8th Air Force had wanted to set up an air-sea rescue service with Catalinas rather earlier than that to look for downed airmen, particularly in the North Sea and the Channel. They haven't been able to because Catalinas were in such demand elsewhere. They then got their hands on some, one of which was named Miss Pickup in recognition of the rescue role. And that aircraft served with the 5th Emergency Rescue Squadron based at Halesworth in Suffolk. And on the 30th of March that year, it landed on the water while it was involved in a rescue sortie, but it couldn't take off again because the starboard engine had failed. The Catalina, it represents a Hawker Typhoon of number 257 Squadron, one of the many RAF Hawker Typhoon units that took that outstanding fighter and ground attack aircraft into battle over Normandy. Of 600 knots, coming down to a minimum display height of some 100 feet for a high-speed pass.
Lots of these very characteristic barrel rolls, almost like a corkscrew. The aircraft literally corkscrewed across the sky.
And of course he's wearing a full-body G-suit, and that combined with pressure breathing allows him to withstand these manoeuvres. And something now for a slow roll down the display line.
One of the harder manoeuvres to fly. It's very easy to just drop the second half a little bit too.
Well, this is a display with very many changes of pace. And so out of that barrel roll, he's now setting up for the slow speed, high alpha, high angle of attack pass. Just 120 knots on this run, of course. Action alert, the UK air defence capability from both Coningsby and RAF Lossiemouth, or around the world, notably in the Middle East.
Now it's time to prepare yourselves for one of the highlights of today's flying displays. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please turn your eyes to the sky for the 2024 Chinook roll demonstration. You can see the Chinook carrying a battlefield gun, deployed on multiple operations, flying in 5 different countries throughout Africa and the Middle East. The underslung load Coops and Luca carrying today weighs 2 tons. The team are now positioning to drop off the underslung load in front of you. Dropping off an underslung load requires a robust and effective communication process between all crew members, as pilots are unable to see what's going on underneath the aircraft. This is achieved by the crewmen in the rear cabin, painting a mental opportunity for some great photos. Get ready to hear the Chinook's iconic blade slap. On the ground, we can see the troops de-rigging the load. JHSS are the specialist helicopter howling unit for defence. A joint squadron made up of both Army and RAF personnel based out of RAF Benton in Oxfordshire. Formed in 1982, they primarily work with our UK support helicopters, including the Chinook, Puma and Merlin, providing specialist helicopter line site reconnaissance and the movement of essential supplies by internal and external loads. Exactly as you can see during today's demonstration. They've been involved in every major conflict in their 40-year history, and the team today is led by Sergeant Lawson, help was always to hand. The unmatched combination of power, agility and endurance has put the Chinook at the forefront of support helicopter operations for over 40 years, always making its time and its target, whatever the task. Looking out the starboard window today is Sergeant Mal King. Born and raised in South Africa, Mal moved back to the UK in 2003, where he served as a crewman on the Lynx Mark 7 with the Army. He eventually saw sense in 2019 and came over to the Chinook Force on a 4-year exchange. Fortunately, and much to our delight, that exchange became a permanent transfer. He's our lead crew serve weapons instructor and has accumulated over 2,000 flying hours. Today's roll demonstration. The team have worked hard to deliver an impressive display of their capabilities. The Chinook will now demonstrate a nose-down quick stop. This dynamic maneuver enables it to rapidly adjust from maximum flying speed to bring support to the troops on the ground in minimum time. Keeps us flying at 140 miles per hour. He'll rapidly decelerate the aircraft and turn using some pedal. This results in the side of the airframe acting as a windbreak. And give a huge wave to the team. We love seeing your photos and videos, so if you've taken any good ones today, we'd be grateful if you could tag us using the hashtag BladeSlap. As a reminder, you can come and find us over at the RAF Village all day today, where we've got a big team who are ready to answer all of your questions. On behalf of myself and the team, thank you so much for watching our display. We hope you enjoy the rest of the day here at Cosford and look forward to seeing you all again very soon. So for one last time, please put your hands together for the 2024 Chinook roll demonstration.
And the aircraft pulling up for the first of many what we call dairy wing over.
This corporation absorbed hunting in 1960. And they took on various hunting designs. In fact, what became the BAe C111 jet airliner was originally a hunting design. And the same as the hair and the swords came from number 3 flying training school, and the RAF College at Cranwell had the poachers, and they were the last, disbanding in 1976.
And indeed, this airframe itself flew with the Gemini pen and also the swords during its service career. And when a certain pilot officer, he graduated from Cranwell after passing initial officer training, we had a fly past of 4 JP Part 5s. I still have some photos somewhere.
This one spent a long time with number 6 Flying Training School at Finley, where it trained navigators, but also as part of the low-level air defence units, specifically navigators, fell, and it's back in the colours of the Finley-based number 6 FTS.
But then, of course, the JP5 is at the end of the JP story because a later version went to war in the shape of the Strike Master, which was basically a military derivation of the 5, with, again, a number of changes made, introduction of various hard points, etc. But it became quite a formidable little combat aircraft in its own right.
It particularly was the Sultan of Oman's Air Force.
During the Darfur uprising and the Mirabat battle, of course, most famously.
And we saw on several occasions the Strike Masters have brought well to the aviation services here, including a veteran of that operation. And now seems like perhaps an appropriate moment to mention how it actually, at one stage recently, due to some damage that was sustained following a burst tyre, an entirely new wing. Obviously, this isn't the work of a moment to arrange and install. And Jeff was telling me that they managed to find a suitable donor from the wonderful little, no, that's totally the wrong word, the wonderful and certainly not little Boston Down Aviation collection at Old Sarah. It did start as a little collection, it now has an absolutely amazing, suitable as a donor for this. A deal was done, and as a result, this aircraft is now back on the circuit, and Jeff's very, very grateful to those, not least of the Boston Down Aviation collection, who made that happen. Isn't that marvellous?
That's such a great story because when these were sold off, they were comparatively cheap. And going around. Gear up. Other recent exercises include Venture Spirit, Crisis Response exercise held at both RAF Lossiemouth in Scotland and also RAF Hoddington in Suffolk. It is now time to look to your left-hand side. What a glorious sight this is.
Take a picture. Yeah, well.
From the Royal Air Force Mobility Force, a pair of A400M Atlas aircraft.
but no ordinary Voyager. You'll note it's the one known as Vespina, which was refurbished to provide a transport. You can see on this aircraft that it's not an all-over yellow colour scheme, because the Dutch wasn't keen on the aircraft's colour scheme, nor on the team name. The decision was taken for 1965 to form just one official Royal Air Force aerobatic team. Prior to that, there had been different premier teams every season, and that was the birth of the Red Arrows. Their first display on the Gnat took place in 1966 to 69, a man who went on to set the standard for formation team leading.
I think they're going to get ice cream.
From mid-1966, the Red Arrows operated as a 9-ship formation, and they seemed almost to define the spirit of the sea, Formula One Grand Prix of the era, including Monaco, Zelsweg, and the Nürburgring. And team pilots. And there a wing waggle from Chris Heames to finish his display on the Gnat display teams, Holland Gnat T1.
2024 Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, it's the Red Arrows! The team arrive in our famous Diamond 9, trailing our world famous red, white and blue. Red 1 starts to pull up and he sings the team to the left, and you'll see that plan form of our world famous Diamond 9. Reds 8 and 9 start to make their way left and right to form up 9 Arrow. And this year we have a new team leader, a new Red 1, that is squad leader John Bond, known as Bondy. Bondy is in his first year as team leader. He's previously been in the team for 5 years. He was Red 2, 7, 6 twice before coming back in 2024 as Red 4. As the smoke comes on for Big Vixen. Bondy is a former Typhoon pilot and former qualified flying instructor on the Hawk, the Tucano. Spitfire, roll. And also the team would like to dedicate the Spitfire roll to our friend and colleague, Squad Leader Mark Long, who tragically lost his life 2 weeks ago in the Spitfire crash. On the left-hand side of that safety spot is Red 3, that's Flight Lieutenant Dustin Wales, known as Dusty. Dusty originally from Zimbabwe. He's a former Typhoon pilot. He flew with 11 squadrons. He was then an instructor on 29 squadrons. In the middle of that right wing is Red 4, that's Flight Lieutenant Ollie Suckling. Ollie is in his second year on the team. He was Red 4 last year. He remained as Red 4 and took up the role affectionately known as Uncle Enid. This means he is the role model and mentor for the new pilots all the way through their winter. On the front row of the chevron, on the far left-hand side is Flight Lieutenant George Hockney. Once again, in his first year on the team, he's a former Typhoon pilot, flew with 11 Squadron, and he's also taken part in operations over, and they are called the Blues because of the colour of their flying coveralls. And we have a number of Blues here at the Red Arrows PR tent in the RAF village today. So please make sure you come and visit and say hello. As the team off to the left-hand side, Reds 8 and 9 in trail for one of the most popular, if not the most popular manoeuvre we fly. It's once again for 2024, it's Tornado! Red 9 calls the ball as Reds 8 and 9 roll around the smoke. But watch for the colour change as Red 1 brings the team down the line.
A little bit left. Now.
You may be able to see on the back of the aircraft, it's a small door just underneath the aircraft. That is the Airbus. Flying with the air breakdown has two significant effects. The first one, it means the pilots fly with a higher throttle setting, and therefore it makes the... On the right is the Red Arrows. As we come to the end of the first half, you'll now see a manoeuvre not played for nearly 20 years. This is the 5-4 split. As we go to the second half, the team now break down. Enid from the right, Hannah from the left for the 5-4 cross. Keep your eye on Enid to the left-hand side. Red Arrows were formed in 1964 and our first... The Red Arrows flew the Gnat right the way up until 1980 when we took hold of the Hawk T-Mark 1, which is the aircraft we still fly today. 8 and 9 roll, get your cameras ready for the Hannah break. Feet above the airfield, they have a closing speed of over 800 miles per hour. Once again, get your cameras ready for the Hannah pass. And you can see Enid now going off to your left-hand side, trailing on world famous red, white and blue. The motto of the Red Arrows is ECLAT, which means excellence. And that means every single member of the team, from the officer commanding all the way down to the newest member of the team, are striving for excellence in everything that we do. And we also try to leave the squadron in a better place from where we found it, with each person aircraft now falling harder into the change in the colour. Pulling 5 to 6G, which means everything about them is now as they can come back round to the front to complete the carousel. Red 1 brings them around to the right. Once again, you can see our world famous red, white and blue. And that is capable due to the smoke pod underneath the belly of the aeroplane. That smoke pod is capable of producing approximately 5 minutes of white smoke, 1 minute of red smoke and 1 minute of blue smoke. And a pleasure. Please put your hands together for the 2024 Royal Air Force Aerobatics team. It's the Red Arrows!
Our team is actually the smallest one of the French Air Force. And oh, I believe the Captain Souchet is drawing something in the sky for you. So how long will it take you to recognize? As a matter of fact, it's the first year in the team for the Captain Sébastien Souchet who is flying right now. As you can see, this aircraft is pretty amazing. It's designed exclusively for aerobatics. And it's almost full carbon. Less than 600 km/h, so super light, but with a 300 horses engine that make it super powerful. The weight and power ratio of this airplane is perfect for the discipline and makes it the Formula One of the year. That was pretty amazing. You will concede. Competition, you don't have the smoke, and the figures are way more complex and precise. They lost points every 5 degrees of difference between the figures they are doing and the figures that they were supposed to do.